I was married in that dress on a Saturday in June 1955 when the air smelled like salt and honeysuckle and the preacher said, "Till death do us part," like he meant it. The lace was Belgian, hand-tatted by my mama's aunt in Charleston. The skirt had 50 yards of tulle, light as sea foam. Harold spun me so fast the veil lifted like a sail, and the whole church laughed when he kissed me before the preacher gave leave. I was 22. He was 25. We had 48 years ahead of us, and didn't know yet that 48 would be all we'd get. The dress hung in the cedar closet of our little house on Edisto Island for decades, wrapped in blue tissue, the train folded just so. I took it out every anniversary, let Harold hold the waist against me and say, "Still fits, darlin'," even when it didn't. After he passed, heart attack and the crab dock, still holding the bushel basket, I left it there. Some things you don't move until you're ready to move yourself. I wasn't ready. Not for 2 years. Not until my daughter Caroline called and said, "Mama, we're doing a vow renewal for our 30th. Tom hired a photographer from Savannah. It'd mean the world if I wore your dress." Her voice was sugar over gravel. I should have heard the gravel. I said yes, because I always said yes. Because I wanted to see that lace on my only girl. Because Harold would have wanted it. I drove the dress myself to Columbia in a garment bag across the back seat, windows up, air off, praying the humidity didn't spot the silk. Caroline met me on the porch in yoga pants, took the bag like it was dry cleaning and said, "We'll be careful, promise." She didn't hug me. She was already late for Pilates. I went home to the quiet house. The quiet was new. Harold used to fill it with radio baseball and off-key humming. Now it was just the refrigerator and the gulls. I sat in his recliner and waited for thank you texts that never came. 3 weeks later, I saw the dress on the internet. I was at the Piggly Wiggly, checking my phone in the cereal aisle when the Facebook Marketplace ad slid past. Vintage 1955 Belgian lace wedding gown, $5,000 OBO, worn once, perfect condition. The photos were professional. Ring light, white backdrop, my dress on a faceless mannequin, the veil pinned just like I'd worn it, the train spread like spilled cream. The listing said family heirloom and must sell, moving. My knees gave out. I caught the cart before I hit the floor. A stock boy asked if I needed a doctor. I told him I needed my dress back. I drove to Columbia with the windows down this time, wind whipping my hair like punishment. Caroline's McMansion looked bigger than I remembered. New stone facade, 3-car garage, a fountain I'd never seen. I rang the bell. Tom answered in golf attire.
"Evelyn, what brings you—" "Where's my dress?" He blinked. "Caroline's at the club. Come in, I'll call—" I pushed past him to the foyer. The dress was gone from the listing, but I knew. "Y'all put it online. $5,000. My dress." Tom had the decency to look cornered. "It was Caroline's idea. We thought, well, you never wear it, and the photographer said it photographed like a dream, and we have college looming for the boys." "College you never asked me to help with until now?" He opened his mouth, closed it. Caroline's SUV roared up the driveway. She walked in with a smoothie, took one look at me, and sighed like I was a telemarketer. "Mama, it's not what you think. It's on the internet, Caroline, with your email." She set the smoothie down. "We were going to tell you after the shoot. We need the money. The lake house taxes tripled. You don't use the dress. It's just fabric." Fabric. 50 yards of tulle my mama starched with sugar water, lace that crossed an ocean, the pearl button Harold kissed the night he proposed. Fabric. I said, "Bring it to me, now." Caroline rolled her eyes, the same eye roll she gave at 16 when I wouldn't buy her a car. It's at the photographer's studio for alterations. We added a corset back for the shoot. It's fine. Alterations. They cut into my dress. I left without another word. The drive home blurred. Salt water on my cheeks, not the marsh. I pulled over twice to throw up on the side of Highway 17. When I got to Edisto, the tide was out, mud flats shining like a warning. I went straight to the cedar closet. The empty hanger swung like a noose. That night, I did something I hadn't done since Harold's funeral. I opened his footlocker. Inside, wrapped in oilcloth, were his war medals, Purple Heart, Bronze Star, the ribbon he never talked about. I held the Purple Heart in my palm. It was heavier than the dress had ever been. Next morning, I drove to Charleston, not to scream, not to beg, to pawn. The shop smelled like brass and old paper. The man behind the counter had kind eyes and a limp. He turned the medals over gently. Korean War? Yes, my husband. Ma'am, these are worth... I know what they're worth to collectors. I need what they're worth to me right now. He wrote a check for $4,800. I didn't haggle. I signed Evelyn Grace Hayward in a hand that didn't shake.
I had a plan. First, I called the photographer, name on the listing, easy find. Young voice, eager. Yes, ma'am, the Monroe party dropped the dress yesterday. We're doing the shoot tomorrow at the Battery. Gorgeous light. Can I see it first? Sentimental reasons? He hesitated. Mrs. Monroe said no visitors. I'm paying you $500 to open the studio tonight. Cash. Silence. Then, 8 o'clock? I was there at 7:30 with a garment bag and a lie about being Carolyn's aunt. The dress hung under plastic, the new corset back gaping like a wound. They'd taken 6 inches off the hem for modern length. I unzipped the bag I'd brought, plain white cotton, bought at Belk for $29.99. I switched them. The lace slid into my bag like it knew it was going home. I left the cotton dress on the hanger. The photographer never noticed. I drove to the South Carolina Maritime Museum before they closed. The curator, Miss Lorraine, had known Harold from the VFW. I laid the dress on her desk like an offering. I want it displayed. Permanent exhibit. Military Brides of the Lowcountry, in memory of Lieutenant Harold Hayward, USMC. She lifted the veil with 2 fingers. Evelyn, this is couture. It's history, and it's mine to give. I wrote another check, $4,000 blanched from the pawn money. They'd restore the hem, repair the lace, mount it in UV glass. Harold's medals would hang beside it. A plaque, donated by Evelyn G. Hayward. Some things are altered, some things endure. Carolyn's shoot was at sunrise. I wasn't there, but the photographer texted me later. Apology in all caps. The dress had shrunk in the steamer. The cotton bag dress looked like a sack on Carolyn. The photos were a disaster. She blamed him, he blamed her. The listing came down. 2 days later, Carolyn showed up at my door with Tom and the boys. The grandkids looked confused. Carolyn's eyes were red. Mama, the dress is ruined. The museum has yours on display with Daddy's medals. How could you? I poured sweet tea like it was Sunday supper. You said it was just fabric. That was before you needed it? I set a glass in front of each boy. Fabric doesn't pay for lake houses, does it? Tom cleared his throat. Evelyn, the lake house is in your name. Joint tenancy. We can't sell without... I slid a folder across the table. Inside, quitclaim deed, signed and notarized that morning. The lake house now belonged to the Maritime Museum, too, future site of a scholarship cottage for children of fallen Marines. I'd kept the pawn receipt stapled to the back. Caroline opened it, read it. Her mouth moved without sound. I said, "Y'all can visit the dress anytime. Museum's free on Wednesdays." The boys asked to see their granddaddy's medals. I walked them to the car, pointed them toward Charleston. Caroline stayed on the porch. "You're cutting us out," she whispered. "No, baby, you cut yourselves out the day you priced my memories." She started to cry. I didn't comfort her. Some lessons you learn dry-eyed. They left. The gravel popped under their tires like tiny gunshots. I went inside,
opened the cedar closet, and hung the empty garment bag back on its hook. It looked lighter. I moved 3 months later. Not far, just to a cottage behind the museum, part of the curator's residence program. My rent? Tell stories to school groups on Fridays. I wear a name tag that says, Evelyn, bride, widow, donor. Children touch the glass over Harold's medals and ask if love hurts. I tell them love doesn't hurt. Being unseen does. Caroline sends birthday cards now. No return address. Inside, we miss you. I file them in a box labeled Return to Sender, emotionally. I don't write back. Some silences speak louder than apologies. On our anniversary, June 12th, I walk to the exhibit. The dress glows under the lights, veil floating though there's no breeze. Harold's medals catch the sun like they're still proud. A tour group passes. A little girl in braids asks the guide, "Did she live happily ever after?" The guide looks at me. I answer for myself. "Still writing the ever after, sugar, but the dress? It's exactly where it belongs." I blow a kiss to the glass. Harold catches it, same as always. Some things you can't sell. Some things you can't cut to fit someone else's story. And some women, at 75, learn the hem of their own life is the only one worth measuring. This is Grandma True Stories, where the lace remembers even when the family forgets. Where a dress becomes a deed and a widow becomes a legend. If you've ever had your heart priced for quick sale, if you've ever taken back what was yours all along, you're not alone. Subscribe today, because when a grandma rewrites the ending, the whole museum listens.